All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of NotaryCoach.com and author of the Amazon best-selling book, Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. I'm excited to be here for our TNT call with my co-host, Carol Ray, amazing founder of Notary 2 Pro. Carol, how's it going over there?
Terrific, because guess what?
What?
I am in my new office after not having an office for months and months. I'm here.
Awesome.
I'm very excited about that. And I just realized I've always been a six-figure earner, but mine had a dot and zeros after it.
It's all in where you place the decimal, isn't it?
That's right.
I love it. Carol, can you tell everybody a little bit about what you do at Notary 2 Pro?
Yes, basically, I turn people who are terrified to start this and teach them everything that they need to know to get started. And I'm the foundation person. I don't go beyond the foundation. It's enough just trying to get them unnerved long enough to get them to their first signing. No, I mentor my students. We have a great, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of what my girls, Barbara especially, has done. We've got, they go through the training website, and then they go through the graduates website, which is included. It's a lifetime thing. And we've got so many things in there. I'm so proud of it. So many resources now. It's taken almost 12 years to develop. It's there. I'm proud of it. And then we send them to you, and then we send them to Laura, and we send them to Notary Stars.
Love it. Well, you've done a great job, Carol. Thank you for sharing that. I'll post a link to Notary 2 Pro in the chat room if you want to check out Carol's course. And then our other co-host, Laura Biewer. Laura, thank you so much for being here, founder of Coach Me Laura. Can you tell everyone a little bit about you and what you offer over at Coach Me Laura?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. Welcome, everybody, to our weekly gathering. So I'm Laura Biewer with Coach Me Laura and the Notary Symposium, an annual event for notaries by notaries. And I offer two different areas of expertise. One is in what people would call the general notary work. I like to call specialty notary work. And I have a replay library with lots of different specialties people could be checking out. And of course, loan signings is just one specialty. There's so many others that we can grow ourselves and target that business rather than haphazardly, it just falls in our lap. And if it does fall in our lap, then at least we could say yes, because we'd be comfortable doing it. The other area of expertise that I provide is two master classes. Both of those are live one-on-one, and one is on the state statutes for your specific state. So I don't talk about anybody else's state but your own. It's one-on-one right now. And I take it to the next level. So we just review lightly what your laws say, and then I say, let's put it to work. And that's when I have an opportunity to pull sample documents, certificates, and work through probably 8 to 10 different documents, some your state, some not your state. Some acts are yours, some are not. So that you can work through, how do I read the certificate? What is it telling me to do? Can I even do that? Can I replace it, or do I need to have a conversation? And then the last one is actually on NSA. And it's for people who are already certified. It's the next level. And it's really all about the mechanics of integrating all of the activities you do at that table, meaning journaling, certificates, presenting documents, how to knock out surprises at the table before you get there so that you're efficient with your time, you're empowering the signer. I happen to use a 2-package system, which is different than most notaries. And that's what you can learn with me. If you're interested, come check me out. I have free quick calls. You can go to my website and give me book a call with me, and I'm happy to talk to you about anything.
Awesome. Love that. And I put a link to Laura's website right into the chat, so you can check that out. But it is just coachmelaura.com. And of course, Carol's is Notary 2 Pro. I can be found at notarycoach.com. Guys, I have all kinds of cool stuff for you, including the Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community. We have Tom, the Simple CRM for notaries and side hustlers. Plus, I just released the Side Hustle Lounge podcast. You can check that out at sidehustlelounge.com. Our first 4 episodes dropped last Thursday already, and those were notary centric, but we're going to be talking a lot about other income opportunities and business opportunities and mindset. Man, it just left my brain.
Good stuff.
The good stuff. Yeah, all that good stuff. We're going to talk about literally everything I love talking about. We're going to be able to talk about on the podcast with special guests. So check that out. One thing I'm real excited about this week, very last minute here, we heard some feedback on the PPP loans and people applying for those. Really great feedback from our friends over at notaryppp.com. They did a great job. Some notaries were challenged with getting some of the paperwork in order. Some were for the application process. Some have been seeing a challenge in finding the right paperwork for getting the forgiveness part taken care of. So Sue Hope, founder of Notary Assist, reached out to me yesterday and said, hey, I think we can put together an event that will help notaries get this information together using the Notary Assist software. So tomorrow, Laura Biewer, Sue Hope, and myself at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we're all just getting together. She's going to show you a brief presentation of how you can use the Notary Assist software and the reporting functionality to help out in that process. If you would like to join us for that, it is completely free, of course. Just click the link, notarycoach.com/forgiveness, and you can join us at 11 a.m. It should be a relatively short presentation with live Q&A as well. Okay, guys, TNT, like an old-fashioned radio call-in show, you're going to use the raise hand feature in Zoom. We're going to call on you. If you would, please, tell us what state you're in, ask your question directly, and if we need some background information, we will certainly ask for it. All right, Jennifer Cooper, you are our first guest today. If you want to unmute, tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi, I am in California, and I have a question, a business question. I've stumbled across somebody local to me who is a mobile notary loan signing agent, and I went through her pricing setup, and I don't think I figured out in my brain exactly how I can do this, but I need to know how we can charge for travel, if we can charge whatever we want for travel as a mobile notary.
Yeah. Great question. And this is specifically to more of the general or specialty notary work
Right.
as opposed to loan signings, right?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Great. Laura, would you like to address that?
I would love to address that, Jen.
Hi, Laura.
So yes, we are free to set up our fees for travel however we see fit.
Okay.
The only 2 requirements are, 1, the signer agrees to it before you get there.
Right.
They're aware of it and they agree to it. And 2, you give them a receipt that
Okay.
delineates notary pricing from all the other fees you may charge.
Right.
And so when I look at my own setup, I have different rings based on either, and really it's based on how much time I have to invest to just get there to do the work. So
Right.
let's just say I have my neighborhood rate. My
Mhm.
neighborhood rate means you're probably less than 5 miles from me in any
I like
direction,
that.
right? Very close. And so that's going to be my base fee, meaning I don't go cheaper. If you're 1 mile, it's the same price as 5.
Right.
That's my base fee, and that's where I
Right.
start. Then let's just say I have my next ring, which for me, I don't have a very big city. 5 miles, I'm out of Modesto.
Yeah.
So then it would be all the cities that touch my city, and that would be my next ring. And I might add another $10 to that base fee. And then, of course, I might go a 3rd ring out. Now, I don't typically go beyond that because anything more than 30 minutes, I don't want to spend time in my car to notarize
Right.
a document. I'm going to reach out to one of my referral partners and give it to them
Right.
that's in that city. So that's how that works. Now, that's good for I'm going to your home or I'm going to your office. But that's not my pricing. I'm going to a hospital. I'm going to the jail. I'm
Right.
going to skilled nursing. That's
Right.
a different. So now I go back to my neighborhood rate,
Mhm.
right? It's double. It's
Right.
double my neighborhood
Right.
rate. If you make me go into a hospital because I got to park far away, I got to go
Right.
through security screening, I got to navigate the hospital, I may have to wait while something's happening in the room,
Mhm.
right? So it's double. And then for my jail,
Jail or
prison,
detention. Yeah.
triple, because
Mhm.
I have to sit and wait for a sheriff to be available to me.
Right.
So can you see, I'm going to just use some pretend numbers. It
Mhm.
might start at $35 and then it's $70 and then it's like $100 and something dollars. The
Right,
more difficult, the more time investment.
right,
And so I'm wrapping my time, not just with travel, but with wait time as well.
right, right. This
Does that make
specific,
sense?
absolutely. In this specific notary, she charges $1 per minute she has to wait past
Yeah.
her.
I could see
Yeah.
that. 20
Yeah,
minutes,
up,
20
up
bucks.
and then,
Now
yeah.
that charge time would be above what you normally would expect.
Mhm.
So if I expect it's going to take me, a regular appointment and I go to your house for one
Mhm.
document, it's 10 minutes in the house. It's not very long.
Right,
But if I need to be there for a half an hour because they can't find their ID, they have to get credible witnesses, it's their fault. I told them what they needed and they weren't prepared. They don't know how to fill out their document. Now I'm just sitting there burning time.
yeah,
And so I may decide, now I can discretionarily, if that's a word, choose to do that or not. It depends on why it happened,
right.
right? So anyways, does that give you some more
Oh,
flexibility?
yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was,
There's,
I loved how detailed you got
Yeah,
on
me
that.
there's
too.
something,
I'm sorry, Carol.
there's something I'd like to add or ask a question, actually. My husband does our taxes, but the only thing that's deductible when it comes to tax time is based on the federal allowance. And I think it's like
Right.
58 cents a month.
Whatever it is that year, yeah. That's the only credit you're gonna get for charging for
You
for,
can't,
driving.
if you've charged $1 a mile, you can't deduct all of that amount.
Right,
Well, I don't think she was doing a mile, Carol. I think she was saying $1 a minute wait time.
No, but I'm talking about the.
You're talking
fuel.
about the
I'm talking about
travel, yeah.
Gas
Oh, right.
traveling time.
right.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend, unless it's required in your state, to mess with the mileage. Write off your mileage as an expense, a business expense, charge time. It's your time that's valuable. It's not the 5 miles, right?
Yeah, and
Awesome.
I guess we better say too that this is very state specific, guys. So
Right.
this was
That's right.
specifically for California, where they have
Mhm.
a little more freedom in that. Not all of us have that.
Exactly. If you're in
Yeah.
Nevada, it's time of day and you have a maximum. If you're in Arizona, there's the mileage deal. So, I mean, there
Yeah,
are
it's
some
capped.
states, and if you're in North Carolina, just forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
All right, great.
Thank you
questions,
guys
everybody.
very
Thank you.
much.
All right, let's see, Lisa, just Lisa. You want to unmute?
That's
Tell us
Lisa.
what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi, I'm in Arizona. I'm in the far southeast valley,
All
over
right.
by Santan Valley.
Santan
Queen
Valley,
Creek.
Queen Creek. I love it.
I'm just kind of merging from, I used to work full time. I now work part time. I have more time available. I've got all my ducks in a row. I've got my NSA. Haven't gotten any signings yet. Okay, foolishly, I've gotten some text messages that looked like spam. So then I answered one and look, it's a SnapDocs. I had no idea. I feel like a fool. Okay, I'm wondering if, because I haven't gotten any signings or any offers, where do I, other than SnapDocs, where do I go to look for work?
Great question. And I'm glad that you
And if
took the time to ask it. So SnapDocs is not the end all be all. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is, if you had a training program outside of the National Notary Association, get dialed into that, because I know most of the big ones, Notary to Pro, Carol's, my course, and a few of the other big ones, they have resources for you. So it's not just SnapDocs. SnapDocs is a great starter, and sometimes you can have a thriving business on it, but there are hundreds of other companies that do not use SnapDocs. So you want to get dialed in with them. And where I usually recommend people go is notaryreviews.org. Carrie Rivera has built an incredible community of other mobile notaries and loan signing agents. And she's created a list of over 850, I think now, of hiring companies. And then they get star rated and reviewed by other loan signing agents that are using them. So you know who to avoid, and then you know who you want to work with. Now, a lot of those will be on SnapDocs, and they'll just say, well, just sign up for SnapDocs and we'll find you. But there's still an opportunity to build a relationship with each and every one of those companies, plus the dozens, hundreds of other companies that don't use SnapDocs. Then you also have the other platforms. You have Signing Order, and there's a few others like Notary Dash that has popped up now too. So there's multiple platforms. And I talk a little bit about this too in my book, but also in my course, if you want to check those things out. There's lots of resources. What I would urge you to do is not just sign up, sit and wait for the phone to ring. Sign up and then start cultivating relationships with each and every one of those companies. Every time your phone rings and dings, that's an invite to build a relationship. And then you don't need that invite. You can actually reach out and be proactive and start building those relationships and get on somebody's radar. The other thing that just because I know your area that you want to consider, Lisa,
Right.
you're booming out there.
It
The
is
housing
so
market is
booming out here.
huge, but you still have to be willing to travel a little bit because you've got to come into Chandler. You got to come into maybe Mesa, maybe Maricopa. Maricopa is a pretty straight shot for you. Maybe even Casa Grande if you're open to being on the road. But
Absolutely.
if you can do that, then you're gonna get you'll get some volume going.
That's what I needed to know, because I know it's booming out here, and I just wondered if I'm not looked at because I'm so far out here that the distance thing might be a turnoff. So I'm like, well, okay, now what? What's the next step? But I made it halfway through your book, and it's really valuable information.
Oh, great. Excellent. Excellent. Carol, Laura, any other suggestions?
Go with some of the cheaper people to start with. If she hasn't done signings, this is what I've done 180-degree flip over the last few years. I used to say, don't even start at less than $100. You had great training, you'll get hired. There's so much competition now, and there's so many companies that are what we call lowballers, but I'm actually encouraging my new graduates, take those from Notary to Notary Go, $60. I mean, I wouldn't go less than that, but take some of those, do 10 of them. That's paying for additional training. If you don't make any money on those, it doesn't matter. You're getting trained. So if you get offers,
and I'm certainly good with that. Absolutely. Get a chance to prove myself.
But that area is just booming. You really need to get yourself out there. So
okay, thank you so much.
Yep, no problem. And then since Carol, you brought that up, I just want to expand on it a little bit. Remember that the value of a transaction is not just the fee that you're getting paid. So the $60 is, that's the most tangible thing that we see. But I invite everyone on this call to think bigger. And remember, you never know who's sitting across the table. Some of my biggest clients have come from the cheapest appointments I have ever taken, $75 appointments that turn into relationships that lead to $100,000 a year clients. So there's more happening than meets the eye. Thanks a lot, Lisa. Appreciate you being here.
You know what, I got to add to that, Bill, so that people will understand how far it can go. My husband and I together did 7 in Arizona. I did 14 years together. I mean, myself doing signings, and I developed relationships with companies. And for me, what it meant was that I had companies, lots of companies, endorsing my course right out of the gate, like Signature Closers. They were big even then. And because I had such a great relationship with them and Mark, the owner, he had for years, still has it, a full page ad on his website that I never paid for under training. And it was just Notary to Pro. And I had a lot of other companies that helped me get Notary to Pro started. So it can go all kinds of ways when you build those relationships.
Fantastic advice. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Randy Venters, I think I'm starting to remember your state, Washington, right?
Yes, I'm in Washington. I have, I think, 2 related questions.
Okay.
So my first one is, I had a signing last night for it was a new company that found me through SnapDocs, a new signing service, and then a title company I'd never worked with. And some of the title documents where I would normally have a notarial block on like the survey affidavit, owner affidavit, there was no notarial block language at all. It just simply had a notary signature, said notary, and then my commission expires. So one is I didn't know, I would normally add a jurat or acknowledgement to that, but they didn't specify any language, so I had no idea what to put. So I didn't add anything. I sent an email, didn't get a response. Should I still sign that document? Where it's just asking for the notary signature?
Are you actually notarizing the borrower's signature? Is there a place for them to sign?
No, there's a place for them to sign. So it's got the borrower signature, and then below that is space for the notary signature, and it says my commission expires and a blank. So I'm not putting a stamp on it because there's no notarial language to actually stamp. But I don't know if they're like asking me to be like a witness to that or.
Great question. It's pretty meager notarial certificate. Laura, what do you have to say?
Well, other than a couple of states, and yours is not one of them, you have to have notary wording. You may not stamp and sign a document and use your title of office, notary public, without words to certify with. So that would be the first thing, is a big fat no. Absolutely, you don't have enough information to know how they want you to certify it. You have signature witnessing in your state, Randy?
Yes.
Yes. So, and if they wanted you to just witness the signature, that would be the closest act where you could do signature witnessing. But of course, we're not supposed to choose, and getting direction would be the appropriate path to take. And if you cannot get direction during that time, the issue is you have to make a decision. Am I going to just not do it and have to come back a second time if they don't answer me? Because you're not supposed to make that choice. But I would suspect that's probably what they're looking for. It's just that we are not empowered to make that choice. And so it puts you in a really tough position about moving forward and taking care of everything else, and risking you're going to have to come back again if they do not answer you. And then I would say this is just one assignment. So if I'm going to, even if I have to do that and I end up having to come back, I would be asking them, when all I see is this, what is your expectation? Because if you can tell me what you expect me to do, I have a notarial act that will probably fit that. And I can do that if I know what you want from me. If I know all you want me to do is witness it, I have an act, signature witnessing. I can attach that. If you need me to take their acknowledgement, I've got an act for that. So it's really just a little bit of information they need to give you so that you could utilize that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Great question, Randy. Did you have one more follow-up to that?
Yeah, so as I'm reading my NNA primer and then the state statute, it looks like on a jurat for the state of Washington that it says, so it doesn't specify in the code, it specifies some criteria in the code of what has to be applied, and then they add examples of what they call like a short form for an acknowledgement and a jurat, which are very simple. But on all of the examples they provide for a jurat, it says signed and sworn before me on, so a space for a date, and then by, and then the name of the signers. So if I have a jurat that just says signed and sworn on by me, or before me on, and a date, and then there's no place to add a name, one is, do I need to replace it with my own jurat, or because the code doesn't specify, but the example that the state provides has where it has the signer's name for the jurat.
Right. There's a rule for most states called sufficiency of the certificate. So you actually have to look at the statute that says what elements are at minimum required, and any state's wording will work for you as long as those minimum are required. So if in the statute it requires the name of the signer in the certification, the answer is add their name or replace it. If the statute does not indicate that it has to have the name in there, then you would just go ahead and use it. It would be fine.
Okay, because like in the statute, I'm not seeing, so the statute doesn't say that the borrower's name has to be in the jurat.
Okay.
But then all the examples that the state provides, it's in there.
Well, I would say it's a best practice to have the name in there so we know whose signature you're notarizing. So my thought is, if I had the space, I would just buy and add the name right to my certification as a safety precaution to identify the exact signer. Because what if there's another signer or signers that are not with you and there's no name on the certificate? Then it could mean it was for everybody. So
Okay,
that's why it's a good idea to always include it.
So would you just handwrite that in on their jurat, or would you add an additional?
It depends on the spacing. If there's room for me to just print the name there, I would. And if there's not, I would replace it with my own.
Okay, thank you.
Laura, when you handwrite anything into your jurats or certificates, do you initial it as well?
I do. Yeah, if it's an addition, yes. So if I added somebody's name, I want them to know I'm the notary. I'm the one that added this guy's name.
Beautiful. Great question, Randy. Thank you. And thank you, Laura. Right now, guys, we're going to take a brief pause, commercial presentation. I'm going to bring up Samantha Smith from the Georgia Notary Network. She's got a special event and a cool thing happening. Samantha, you want to come on up?
Good afternoon, TNT, Bill, Miss Laura, Miss Carol, as always. Look, I don't know where else I'd rather be on a Tuesday than in a room full of notaries. I'm currently at work right now, but I definitely want to take a few minutes to jump on and represent Georgia for a little bit. So for those who I might be new to, my name is Samantha Smith, and I'm the owner of She Listens Notary and Business Services down in Southeast Georgia. I'm also the co-founder of the Georgia Notary Network. It's basically an organization, network of notaries. We not only support each other, refer business, but we are voraciously attacking notarial law in the sense that we just want to see some things change that benefit the entire Georgia notary community. So at this point, we are super excited. The Georgia Notary Network, we call ourselves the GAN Clan. We are hosting probably the first ever Georgia-specific statewide training. Any Georgia resident who is interested in getting their notarial commission, or if you're a current Georgia notary public and you want to get some sound training, we are hosting the Georgia Notary Essentials Masterclass. And that class will be taught by none other than the auntie of notaries nationwide, Miss Laura Biewer of Coach Me Laura. So we are super excited that she has joined in with us to not only provide this training, but as she has stated a number of times, to just help Georgia notaries be able to execute their office with proficiency, with skill, and most importantly, with confidence. So those social media posts will be going out in less than 2 minutes on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. For those who are already connected to me and my platform, they will be getting something via email where they will be able to register for this class. The training starts on Friday, May the 7th at 7 p.m. It will be a virtual group session, and the last day to register will be April the 30th. So if you have any questions, feel free to connect with me on any of my platforms. Like I said, the social media posts will be going out, and we'll keep it in heavy rotation over the next few days so that we don't miss any of the Georgia notaries. I don't know if Ms. Laura wanted to say something about the training. We're just so super happy that she's decided to partner with us and provide us some training.
Thanks, Samantha. I'm so excited. Samantha and I actually were doing one-on-one training together, and she said, you know, every Georgia notary needs to know this. And I said, yeah, how could we make that happen? And came up with this idea to partner with the network, Georgia Notary Network, so that any Georgia notary who would like this kind of very specific training, meaning I go through what their laws say about their most common notarial acts, but then we up the game next level and we start pulling in those documents and go through each one. And is this a notarial act in your state? Can you fill it out? Yes or no? Can I replace it? Do you have it? What are my options? And that's probably what the next level is. It's the kind of training that even if your state provides training, and of course, you know, in California, we got 6 hours of it, they don't spend any time on helping you let the document tell you what's needed and helping you read the certificate and parsing it out so you know what it's asking you to certify. So then you can start thinking about, can I use this? And if I cannot use this, what would be my go-to? So I'm looking very forward to helping Georgia notaries feel confident and confident about their notary skill. Thanks.
And ladies, be sure and send me information about that. I've got a lot of graduates working
Okay.
successfully in Georgia, and they'd be very interested. Well,
Alright.
and Barbara will send it out, okay?
Thank you, Carol.
Yep. Likewise. Can't wait to send that out. And if you guys can get me a link here pretty quick, I'll send it out with the replay for today's event as well.
Great. You know what? I put that in that email, but I'll find it again and get it to you.
I did get that link, but we
Did it
should
work?
talk about
Did
that.
that work?
Let's talk
Okay.
about it. Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
I'll get you a new one.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Let's move on. We got a few more questions here. Actually, a lot more questions here. Kendra Wynn, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute. Tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Yes, I'm in Dallas, Texas, and I have a question kind of for a signing service, if that's okay.
Sure.
So I found this signing service. They've used me several times and we've built a very good relationship. They now ask me directly instead of going through SnapDocs. But the only problem is their pay is pretty low. When I say low, I mean $75 for a seller and then $90 for a refinance and a sell or and a buyer. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then the areas can be very hit or miss as far as, I could be driving 40 miles for a job. They've mentioned to me that if you do a specific training with them, that they pay their notaries more. And I've expressed interest, but nothing's gone beyond that. And I'm kind of to the point. So this will be my third month doing a lot of business for them. And I'm just kind of getting discouraged because my amount that I'm making is staying the same, but I'm working a lot harder, if that makes sense, to get the same amount of jobs. So like last month, I worked almost 15 more jobs, but made about the same amount as I did the month before. My question is how can I approach them and either A, ask them specifically to do the training so I can get a higher pay that I'm interested. And two, if they're not interested, how do I politely say that I need to kind of bring in my mileage area? Like I still want to work with them. I still want to be their partner, but I need to tone in how far I'm driving for jobs because it's not productive for me, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds like it might be out of balance with the win-win a little bit. Carol, would you like to address this one first?
Sure. Okay, you've established a relationship with them. They know your work. They trust you. They still want to pay you lowball. You're going to have to let them know that you're getting busy and that you feel that you have proved yourself and ask them for a raise at each level. Tell them I'm going to need to earn a little bit more money because I'm being offered jobs that are paying better and I'm earning more money with them. I'd like to continue working with you, but a little bit more consideration would be helpful. That's what I would do.
Yeah. I just don't know really how to in the email, you know what I mean? Or, I don't really talk to them on the phone because either comes through SnapDocs, they just text me. I have their numbers, so I could. Like I said, I just don't know how to politely go about doing it. That's where it makes me nervous. I don't want it to be one of those things where they take it the wrong way.
But you just said you're going to do it politely. Reach out to them. Be honest. Be yourself, and let them know that you're kind of gotten to that point where you really feel confident in what you're doing, and that you feel that you want to continue to work with them. You want to continue that relationship, but that you're going to need to increase the pay, especially if it comes to distance or more difficult jobs.
Okay.
I don't know how Laura and how Bill would handle it, but my business, that's what I did. And I always ended up having great relationships and making more money when I was honest with them. If they don't care about the quality and they're going to continue to work with people who don't charge very much because they don't know that they can do that, have more reasonable fees. But that's what I would do.
I love
Okay,
that.
thank
And then for me, I always try to keep the big picture in mind. So if I'm trying to get an extra $10 out of these guys, not worth the conversation, not worth the friction that it's going to bring. If I'm trying to get an extra $60 out of them, it's probably not going to happen because they're probably only charging their clients $125 to $150 for these appointments. So I kind of know what their margins are. There just might not be any room to play. So I ask myself the question, if they say no and I lose all this business, does it devastate my business? So I got to keep that in mind. And the other thing I've learned in this business, I've come to learn in this business, is that idle wheels do not pay the bills. So I've got to get momentum going. And what I found is, because I took those $90 appointments, I love working with Zoom signings. They pay $90 a signing. But while I was out on the road running, and I would go crazy distance for them for $90, but my phone started ringing. I started making connections. There's something about this business that really supports momentum. So if you're out taking these appointments, you tend to get more appointments. It like attracts it into it. It's like a magnet. And the other question I always ask when I'm determining whether this is worth my time or not is, what am I doing if I'm not taking that appointment? So if I don't have this client anymore and I've decided that $90 is too low for me to work, what am I going to do at 11 a.m.? I could have had a $90 signing, but now I've decided I can't work that cheap. So what am I going to do at that time instead? How am I going to grow my business? And if I'm going to just sit back and stress out and wonder if this is the right business for me or how I'm going to pay my bills, pay my rent, then that's not worth it to me. I'd rather be on the road, because here's the math I did. I did $90 times 5 is $450. I have never been paid $450 for a day of work in my life until I found this business. I made it work because 9 times 5, and that's how it happens. Zoom would call me for one appointment, and then we're like, oh, well, I got this other one too. Oh, we had a cancellation for this one. I'd be bouncing from another one, and it just adds up. So it's a big decision to make. And sometimes it's worth it and sometimes it's not, because here's the other side of that too. There are times when I fired clients or just said, this, I can't work like this. Sometimes it was about money. Sometimes it was about their organization. Sometimes it was because they were mean, whatever it is. But as soon as I said no to them and fire or let them go, it cleared the space for something really great to come into my business and my life too. I
like
hope
that.
that helps.
I have a little bit of a unique situation because I still homeschool and I'm still a mom of 4. So I'm not like my job is not to be the breadwinner. So I guess that's maybe where I'm struggling a little bit, is I'm like, I really want to prioritize and kind of get the most bang for my buck. So if I wasn't, then I could be marketing to directs, or different things where my goal is just to earn a minimum to provide for what we need and then not do more, if that makes sense. So it's a little bit different than like a full-time, and I completely and respect your take, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
And your
definitely.
time as a mom and a wife and taking care of a family really supersedes, since you don't have to make that kind of money, it supersedes everything. So you can choose to take what's more valuable, what your time is more beneficial.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's good.
And that's the beautiful part of this, because I know there's people on this call that are sitting back wondering if they're going to get shamed for taking $60 appointments or $70 appointments, or should I just sit back and wait for $150 appointments? There's no blanket statement for this. You've got to make the decision that's right for you and your situation.
We've all heard of those people that say, I won't leave my house for less than 150. And I always say, that's great. I hope you like the color of your living room walls.
So true. All right. Great question. Great conversation. Thank you for bringing that up, Kendra. Good luck.
Thank you.
Kristen Benbow, great to see you. I know you're in California. How can we help?
I have no shame. I'll take a few bucks just for the internship.
Yeah.
So my question is about I'm just pulling up my list here. So I set up the Google My Business account, and then it gives you that free website. And I'm wondering, can I get some SEO off of that? How long do I want to stay in that kind of world before I move on to the real website?
Great question. There are plenty of businesses and notaries that thrive on only a Google My Business site and page but there's so many different factors that play into that. And with the Google My Business suite of services that are free, you can still update posts. You can almost have a blog. You can tag your pictures. It's pretty comprehensive. So as long as you get it dialed in, I think the best indicator for this and so many other things is results. If you're getting good results with Google My Business, keep it, because you're never going to get rid of it anyway. You can always keep your Google My Business and then have a separate website too and start linking the two. So that's how I would decide that.
Okay, and then what's the name of the video service that you and we were talking about this earlier? The one that you introduced yourself.
Yeah, so this is a company called, I'm going to get the link too, so I can type it in here. There it is. So there's a company I use called Bonjoro, and this is what I use to send welcome videos to new students to the Sign and Thrive community, but it has so many uses. So if you wanted to find a creative way to stay connected with your signers, with your escrow officers, or anything like that, it allows you to just film a really quick video and send it to them, and they can watch it on their own browser or however they want to watch it. And it's real quick, super personal way of staying connected to people. And if you're looking for an outside the box way, that's one way to do it. And it's called Bonjoro.
And last question, I am setting up all of my intros, and I'm wondering, can I use your name? Notarycoach.com, trained. I mean, it's not a certificate, but I know a lot of people are looking for that.
Absolutely. You're always welcome to do that. And I would probably use the Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community name and just go on continuing education. So I don't offer a certification. We have amazing certifications already, Carol Ray's. And then of course the industry one that everybody expects is the NNA. And then the continuing education is your Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community. And yes, absolutely use it. Any type of extra above and beyond training that you do, I would absolutely use. And remember, it's not always about just the notary side of things. There's so many other components that make us successful in this business. Talk about that in your profiles, because we're human beings. We gotta be emotionally balanced. So that emotional intelligence plays a huge factor in this. There's personal development, there's additional trainings, business management, all marketing, all those things make us good business people. I would talk and share with that, especially on LinkedIn, anywhere you can. Carol, Laura, do you have any additional feedback on that?
No, just no. Include anything. Like if you're doing a resume, okay, you want to limit it. You don't want to do a 2 or 3 page, review of your life. But those things where you're working with the public, if you worked in a bank for years, if you were a realtor, if you've done things that show that you're detail oriented, that you are very willing to work with all types of people, just all of those the components that make up a life that's conducive with being a signing agent. You don't have to, don't.
The one thing I can't really do is blow up my LinkedIn a little bit, because I have a day job and I don't want to jeopardize that with Kaiser, so I have to be careful with that. But I get what you're saying, and it's very helpful to do that with the other intros that I have.
Yeah, definitely. And remember that it's whatever profile you decide to use. So if you don't feel comfortable with LinkedIn, go to the signing agent. Just swap it out with whatever name works for you, so it doesn't stop you from taking action.
And Bill, I have a suggestion. Maybe I shouldn't bring it up here, but I'm going to anyway. Something you might do. I came up with a reference letter that I have in our library that my students, my graduates can download now. And all they have to do is fill in their name. And they use that as a letter of reference when they're going out and they're brand new. And it seems to be helping a lot.
Yeah,
So
great
maybe you
idea.
should think about doing that with Sign and Thrive.
Yeah, great idea. Great idea. Love it. Kristen, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Right, Dan Trell, great to see you on today. How's it going in Texas?
Yeah, hey, it's going good, Bill. Hope everything's going all right in Arizona. I've been watching a little bit of the podcast here, so y'all been doing awesome. So, and just want to say that. And
Thanks.
my question was regarding. So I called my local attorney. Right, he's a big attorney in my city. So just to kind of get some general notary going, and they said they'll reach back out to me. So I'm gonna end up reaching out to him on Facebook, just letting them know that check out my LinkedIn and then what have you. So I think we'll definitely get to do good business together. Now there's other avenues that I've been looking to to move towards. Let's just say for like the healthcare, right? There's healthcare, like there's one right down the street. So I've been kind of wondering how I'm going to talk to them and approach them and to try to present something and put things together. So I got a lot of things going on. I'm probably not like the normal of what usual. I guess everybody else is like maybe just I spoke. Let me slow down. I spoke with a lady on LinkedIn and she was just kind of waiting on signing appointments. And I was letting her know that I think that while you're waiting on signing appointments, I think it would be good to do some general notary work as well, just to kind of get a good idea if it's your first time. If you just became a notary just to be a loan signing agent, I was just letting her know it would be good. So my question is,
what's your point? Oh, thank
Hey,
you.
Teresa.
Oh,
Slow it down.
sorry.
Yeah. So my point is, right, eventually you will, I feel like I'll have a lot of work, but I want to do loan signings. And I know that's something that's like I'm going towards.
Right.
I may kind of want to let off on that. So I don't want to build up too much business to the point where I can't manage it. So, how would you suggest go about doing that? Should I just keep it simple and stick to like maybe 2 healthcare facilities and 2 attorneys or
Gotcha. Hold on. I think
something like that.
I think I know where you're going, but here is what I would suggest is cross that bridge when you get there. If you've got too much business, then what a freaking amazing problem to have. But if you don't have enough business yet, don't hold yourself back. Don't say, oh, I'm only going to get these 2 healthcare facilities just in case I get busy. If that happens, you'll figure it out. But if you also listen to some of the coaching and teaching that Laura, Carol, and I do, we're talking about building a network of notaries, and you're really good at interacting and bringing people in, and you've got the enthusiasm. So keep that up and build your network. So when you do get busy, you've got people you can count on. You've got a team. You can tell people, hey, I'm not available, but I've got somebody over here who can do that. Who knows where your wheels might turn and you might start building a bigger company. You might have a signing company, whatever that is. Let that organically grow. You've got a strategy, right? We're going to build these connections, but focus on that first and talk to everyone. Everyone should know you're a notary and you should cultivate those relationships. The key is, remember, don't stop at just one. Most people, if they get courage enough to approach and talk to people, they stop at the first time. They're like, oh, whew, made that first connection. Now I just got to sit back and wait for it to ring. Don't do that. It's going to take 7 to 22 times. Let me get rid of these people muted out here, guys. All right. Sorry about that, Dan Trail. So keep it going and don't worry so much about getting busy. Even with the loan signings, we tell you to sign up with 100 companies, but what if all 100 companies said yes? An amazing problem to have. We'll figure it out as we get there, and you're going to figure out who you enjoy working with and who you don't. It's kind of like with general notary work. General notary work's a little more, you know, some people need you here, some people need you here. So you've got to build that network, and you're constantly building relationships so you get that consistent flow going. And it usually takes years to do that. But sometimes you hit it. You never know who's sitting across the table. One person changes everything. I think I saw Matt make a comment earlier too. One $50 appointment led to an attorney's office that gives him lots of volume. That stuff happens every single day. Cross that bridge when you get there. And I wonder if Laura or Carol has a different opinion on this, or a confirming opinion.
I personally agree with what you said, and this is a young man. We've seen him several times. You have the most delightful personality. I think you're going to do great, and just keep forging ahead. And your plan, I think, is fine. And listen to Bill.
Fair enough. Okay.
Laura, anything from your side?
Yeah, ditto.
Oh, okay, ditto. There you go. Dantrell, great plan. I love your energy. I know you're going to knock it out of the park.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thanks for being here. Shirley, welcome. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Sure can.
Hi, I'm from California. I'm more in the Riverside County area.
Okay.
So I have a question where I was listening to one of your, one of these chats last week with another notary, and it kind of brought another question to me when I did a power of attorney. And not sure if Laura could or Carol, can help me on this, but I'm kind of been thinking about what I did, and maybe I should have asked more questions. So what happened is, I guess the lady, it was the mom, she was giving power of attorney to the son. So when I got there, I just asked some questions to her just to make sure, like, she knows what she was doing, what a power of attorney is, to make sure she's sound in mind, just to make sure she wasn't being taken advantage from what I've heard. So when she was telling me, yes, I'm giving my son the power to pay my bills, I like a few days later, I was like thinking, should I have really read more into the document that the son presented to me, that it says that's the reason she's giving power of attorney? Or is that not really my place? Because what if that's what she thought it was, and then the son actually presents another document that says, no, you're giving me power of attorney for everything. But that's what she told me, that was her understanding she was signing the documents for. So it's kind of been like lingering in my head, like, what, for one, did I do a right thing, I guess? And then second, like, what can I improve myself on another one if I have a situation like this where the lady does tell me, well, I'm only giving a power of attorney, just for, just one particular thing. And then should I be then reading the documents to make sure, okay, that is what she's saying?
Gotcha, Shirley. Great question. Laura, what do you say?
Well, I'm going to tell you two things. First of all, we're not really supposed to be reading into their documents. That's not the notary's job, and it's really not supposed to be our business. However, with that said, I'm going to tell you with this particular kind of document, such as a power of attorney, especially if it's for personal and financial affairs and or real property, that when I ask that question and they say pay bills, or they say one thing, I do look at the document. Most of the formatting of these powers of attorney have choices. That could be A, B, C, D, all through the alphabet, and N is everything. And so I would look to see where she was planning to initial for the power. And if she says, no, this is just for a bank account or just checking, is that where she's planning to initial? Because if it's been indicated that she's going to be initialing N, I'd feel obliged to say, this is for everything. This would be banking, real estate, any personal or financial thing. Is that what you're expecting? Is that the broadness of this power you'd like to give your son? And it says, well, yeah, that's fine. He can do these other things too. That was just, why we were getting this rolling. Great. she can go ahead and initial and we move forward. If she says, well, no, I don't really want anybody touching these other things, then I can say, would you please look at these options? And then you can choose what you want your son to have the power on. In terms of your responsibility, it's not your responsibility that she filled that out correctly. That's not what we do as notaries. However, a good notary will take an extra few minutes to check it out. I hope that helps.
It does. That's kind of what I was thinking to do second, like if I have another situation. I guess like you said, we're not supposed to read it because it's more personal, but I kind of felt I need to, if they do say something like that, just to make sure, I guess, it kind of matches. And if it doesn't, like you said, I feel like obligated to let her know, well, actually, you're doing more than this. Are you okay with that? And then move forward with that and initial that portion.
I think the flag that you said yourself was she told you something that was different than you know about the document.
Yes.
So that's what raised it. I would not automatically start checking things out because it's not my business. But in an initial question, if it indicates that I don't think she realizes what she's signing is bigger than that, then I'm going to take the next step and say, okay, I'd like you to look at these options. Is this everything? Is this all okay? And give her a moment to do that, to either agree, yeah, that's fine. I only said one, but it's all good. I trust him. Or no, this is limited to one. But I would always do that in response to new information that's being provided by my signer to make me go that direction.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it. That clears things up for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Shirley.
Bill, I want to ask, excuse me, ask you a favor. I want to make an announcement before we get off. It's just a simple little thing, but before you end it all, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, you want to just take a minute to do that real quick?
Sure.
Yeah.
So many of the Notary to Pro graduates, both trainees and graduates now, are in the more senior area as far as age is concerned. So we've created something called Primetime Notaries, which is specifically for people in their 50s, 60s, 70s who are current students or graduates of Notary to Pro. But it's not limited to Notary to Pro. It's for anybody in that age group that is doing the job or starting or thinking about it. And we are having our once a month meeting tomorrow evening. And the way that people can find it if they'd like to be a part of the Zoom meeting is to go to notarytopro.com, and it says enter here. And what you'll get is a page that says everything TNT, everything, the things that I participate in, but this one is called Everything Primetime. And you can register there, doesn't cost anything, and it's great information. We have guests, and we've got a good program planned for tomorrow. So if anybody's interested, we welcome you. That's all I want to know.
Great. I'm going to put the link to your site there in the chat after hitting that enter button. So it's there for you guys. Thank you for that. And I think we have time for one more question. Bridget's iPhone, thanks for being here. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and what state you're in.
Hey, Bill, this is Bridget. I'm in Texas. If I cut out, I'm traveling, so I apologize. But I have a question and a couple of things I wanted to say. One, for all the new notaries, I took Carol's program in 2013. And one thing I remember her saying is if you do a good job, the work will come because they'll know that you do a good job and they'll know how organized you are. And I'm kind of reaping the benefits of that right now through SnapDocs. Don't sleep on SnapDocs. I now have two companies that I work direct with. They're both very big companies, and they call me first and then they put me in SnapDocs. And one of them has just totally gone direct with me as of today. The other thing is that also, just a heads up for everybody that doesn't know, First American Title is looking for notaries if you didn't look at your NNA letter. So check it out. They have it there for you to apply. And last but not least, I want to know, for those of you that do cash outs, I've been turning them down. I'm in Texas and we're very busy here. So attorneys' offices are still closed because of the pandemic. Title companies, most of them are not open unless you're doing work for them. I just wanted to get an idea of what everyone else may be doing in their state if they're having this problem, because I'm just turning them down literally because attorneys' offices are saying no. Or I found one, but you have to be in their lobby, and some of the escrow and title companies are like, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah, good question. And this is a Texas specific challenge, Bridget. So the other people in other states won't have this. So it's only in Texas.
Yeah. Title IV.
So there is, I've also heard, Bridget, I'm going to put you on mute. Feedback.
Okay.
I've heard there is different interpretations of that law as well. And Martin Renteria is one of those legal experts in Texas who has a differing opinion than some people on that. And I found that very interesting too, that the responsibility falls on the lender and maybe not on the notary. So Carol, now that you're in Texas, have you heard any of your graduates having this challenge or problem, or heard any solutions for this?
Well, it's been a problem for years because they have title companies don't want somebody else taking their business and using their offices, even though they get paid for it. They want to keep it all in-house. So that's understandable. Lawyers are afraid of the implication of having people in their offices because they feel that there might be some liabilities. So it's very difficult. I will say that I have several companies, signing services, one in particular that's quite large in Texas, and they have facilities that they're able to send some of our graduates to, which is good. They provide it. But it is a big problem. But I did hear, and I can't remember where she was, but one of my graduates, brand new, got a signing, paid very well, and she did not go to a lawyer's office or a title company. I believe she ended up going to a real estate company using their office, and nobody said anything about it. They allowed her to do the Title IV there. But it's a big problem because if these people, our notaries try to get work and do what they have to do to, fit the law, and nobody wants to let them do it. Nobody wants to help them.
Yeah, it's a challenge. And then so if you're in Texas, Martin Renteria, I think, has the Texas Notary Law Group or something along that way. And he has a possible solution for this, but you want to get dialed in on that so you can make the best decisions for you on that too. But it's a huge challenge, always has been. I know they were trying to get that law removed, but I don't think it worked out.
Martin's a graduate of mine, so I should get in touch with him.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I haven't talked to him in years.
That guy knows his stuff. I always have good conversations with him. All right, we're 3 minutes past the hour, so I'll go ahead and wrap us up here. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, may I say something real quick?
Sure, Wanda.
Hi, I'm in Texas, and I do know Martin personally as well. He's a local trainer here for us. Anyways, I just posted in the chat the link that talks about the in November of 2020, they signed and became effective, kind of like a different way of doing those cash outs. If anyone wants to click on the link there and look at it.
Thank you so much, Wanda. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Love this group. Thank you all for coming together, being so kind to each other. That's really the key. And I think that's what sets us apart in this industry. We all are here in loving and support of each other. So thank you. I know Carol appreciates it. Laura does. And Carol and Laura, I so appreciate you. And thank you for being here. And thank you to everybody who has taken time out of their Tuesday to grow themselves and their business. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you same time, same place next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.